This is TradeFlow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. TradeFlow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
TradeFlow Capital Management celebrates 5 years of strong returns and SME success. To find out more, please visit www.tradeflow.capital.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets. Texas crude is set to assume a key role in the world's most important benchmark, Brent, as oil index publisher S&P Global Platts adds US WTI Midland crude to its dated Brent oil price assessment for June deliveries. Dated Brent is a part of the wider Brent complex including physical cargoes, swaps and the Intercontinental Exchange (ICE) futures contract. Brent is used to price over 3/4 of the world's traded oil. WTI Midland is the first crude from outside of the region to be added to the basket. Until now, Brent had been based on 5 British and Norwegian North Sea crudes, whose supplies are in long-term decline.
Oil rose on Wednesday after plunging more than 2% in the previous session as reports of falling U.S. crude oil and fuel inventories refocused investors on robust demand in the world's top oil consumer. Brent crude climbed by 30 cents, or 0.4%, to $81.07 a barrel by 0358 GMT. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude gained 39 cents, or 0.5%, to $77.46 a barrel. U.S. crude oil stocks fell by about 6.1 million barrels in the week ended April 21, according to market sources citing American Petroleum Institute (API) figures on Tuesday. Analysts had expected crude inventories to fall by about 1.5 million barrels.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
As Middle East crude exporters cut output and raise prices, India's refiners are successfully switching to Russian oil and enjoying the double bonus of cheaper cargoes and higher margins for exported refined products. India's crude imports from Russia are expected to reach a record high in April as Asia's second biggest oil buyer increasingly turns away from its traditional suppliers in the Middle East. Refinitiv Oil Research estimates that India will import 1.94 million barrels per day, BPD, from Russia in April, while commodity analysts Kepler are more bullish, forecasting arrivals of 2.39 million barrels of oil per day.
EU countries approved sweeping changes to the region's carbon trading scheme and emissions laws this week, making industrial pollution more costly while generating billions of euros for funds to be used to accelerate Europe's energy transition. Along with other recent legislation that applies levies to imported carbon-heavy products such as metals, fertilizers and cement, and extends emissions caps to transport sectors, the recent flurry of lawmaking represents a significant strengthening in Europe's emissions management tools. The policy moves come after 2 years of fierce debate and will help Europe realize its emissions reduction goals while enabling key industries to successfully transition away from fossil fuel use.
Next, we have the top news in metal markets.
Copper prices edged higher on Wednesday, with gains capped by concern over demand in top consumer China and market caution ahead of the U.S. Federal Reserve's policy meeting next week. 3-month copper on the London Metal Exchange, LME, was up 0.6% at $8,576 a ton by 0751 GMT. Copper prices had fallen to their lowest in 6 weeks on Tuesday, driven down by Chinese demand weakness, a strong dollar and a sharp rise in inventories in the LME warehouse system.
Plans by Myanmar's Wa militia to suspend mining in areas it controls from August sent tin prices up 15% to 10-week highs, but a market surplus and high inventories are likely to offset the worst effects of a ban in the short term. Benchmark tin prices hit $28,440 a ton on Tuesday last week, the highest since February 3. Prices of the soldering metal were last around $26,250. The International Tin Association estimates Wa State represents about 10% of the world's tin concentrate supply and that China accounted for about 47% or 181,000 tons of tin consumption last year, of which 47,700 tons, or 26%, came from Myanmar. We will now look at the top news in the agricultural sector. Ukraine's wheat exports are likely to fall 37% to 8.8 million tons in the 2023-24 July to June season due to an expected drop in the harvest and ending stocks, APK Inform Consultancy said on Tuesday. In its first forecast for the 2023-24 season, the consultancy said Ukraine's overall grain harvest could fall by 13% to 45.6 million tons, including 16.2 million tons of wheat, 5.2 million tons of barley and 22.9 million tons of corn. Ukraine harvested a record 86 million tons of grain in 2021, including 32 million tons of wheat, before Russia's invasion of the country.
That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to TradeFlow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.